All right, guys, we are back on the Next Level Agents podcast, and today I'm joined by two guests. One I've known for quite some time. In fact, we share a hometown. Mr. Travis Crow. I'm gonna say your last name properly, and also joined by Veronica Morrow. Veronica, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, thanks a lot for being here, guys. I'm excited to do this interview and talk about the a new project that you guys have got going on. But before we do that, let's start with you, Veronica. Give us a little background for the listener that doesn't know you. How long have you been in real estate? And kind of, I'm always interested in finding out how people ended up in real estate.
Well, I have been actually doing loans since I was 18. I'll share my age. I'm 49 now, owned a mortgage company and actually as a lender. And I met you several years ago as a lender in that world and realm when I was working with KW as kind of one of the preferred lenders. Bought my first house when I was 18, owned five by the time I was 25, 26 years old. So kind of got in that investment kind of world. And then when I was in the lender world, one of the biggest things was value proposition. And so I did a lot of the real estate events and so forth and became CE certified. And I think I'm going on 9 years now that I transferred over to real estate, still hold my mortgage license and it's active. Don't do loans, but I use it for training and just making sure that I keep up with the market. So I've had that for a very, very long time. So I think I'm going on 9 years full time now in real estate with my team. And again, CE certified, just doing a lot of personal development stuff. DISC certified as well with John Maxwell. I do a lot of John Maxwell stuff, as well as I'm a life coach with Tony Robbins, getting my advanced certification with that. And now working with Dr. Is it Shandiri? I was telling Travis a while back, I'm actually getting my certification on power of influence is what I'm doing now. So
Good Lord. How many different things are you doing? That sounds like a lot. I'm tired. You've already worked enough for me today. I need to go take a nap.
Now you see why I partnered with her.
Right. Travis, tell us a little bit about your story, man. How long have you been in real estate? And how did you end up there?
So I'm 49 as well. And back in 2014, I was working, as you know, I sold equipment, rented equipment for years for Caterpillar and John Deere. Well, one year it got slow and I lost my job. And I realized it was in control of other people, no matter how much money I was making. So at 40 years old, I got my real estate license. And it was tough though for me because I was supposed to do the cold calling and door knocking. It's all I knew and all I was told to do. And I left $100,000 a year job. In my first year, I made about 38,000 in real estate. And
isn't that
my
the dream?
second year?
Isn't that the dream?
Gosh. And I mean, that's not bad money. I'm not knocking that, but for me to go from that it was very tough. And so my second year, I knew I was just going to kill it by knocking more doors, and I made 64. And so then I knew that's when I decided I got to do something else. I was decent at real estate, but the door knocking in Yuma, Arizona at 150 degrees it got to me bad. And so what I did was I started looking around at other things to, how else can you get clients without having a door knocking cold call? It was robbing my soul and I absolutely hated it. So I found this program.
Well, hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Hold on before you do that, because I do want to dive into that. I think it's important for the listener to notice is like, hey, you did do something and you kind of dove into the door knocking and the calling, etc. And while you had some success in it, my hunch is you probably had some success because you're kind of hard-headed and you're willing to just keep doing it, even though it wasn't necessarily the way for you personally, right? And
yes,
like the thing about real estate that I think is awesome, and can be a challenge if you don't figure this out, is the fact that there's a lot of different ways to succeed in real estate. There's a lot of different ways to do things, and the way that one person might be really successful isn't necessarily the way you're going to be successful. And so not giving up and sort of finding your way, the thing that you're willing to do sort of day in and day out, is the important thing here. Not did you door knock or did you cold call or did you use social media today or whatever the strategies and tactics you're using. I think it's very important to kind of point that out, is like you did have some success, but it was like it probably weighed heavy on you because like it was against your natural behavior. And then the other piece of that is that you you just didn't like doing it. And it's hard to keep doing something like that and actually have a lot of success if it's not something you're willing to just keep going at, if it's not in your lane.
And I agree with you 100%. It works. I always say that, my time as a team leader at Keller Williams, I told everybody it absolutely works. If you're okay with it, you can make a lot of money. My thing was, I think it was taking me too long. I knew it was going to take me a lot longer. And as I delved into it, like you said, I realized, oh, this isn't the only way. It's just my mentors at the time, that was their way. And so that's what I had that mindset that this is all you have to do. And it wasn't all you can do. There's a ton of other things you can do. So that led me into other research.
I'm glad you pointed that out about your mentor at the time, or mentors. Like, mentors are great. I'm a big believer in mentors. I've always had multiple. And there's an art to picking the right mentors, right? Just because
Yes.
someone's successful doesn't mean they're the mentor for you, or also doesn't mean that you can't learn from them, but maybe they're not the right mentor for you, or they're not the right person for you to emulate, things like that. Because there's a lot of there. I mean, let's face it. I see so many. This is when you get inside of a real estate brokerage, like the actual single brokerage, franchise or not, what you tend to see is a lot of agents or teams that sort of look and behave the same. Like they all
Yeah.
sort of become a copycat of each other. And because the reality is, look up like, oh, Travis or Veronica, like she's killing it, I'm just going to do what she does. And so then everybody in that building or in that brokerage tries to emulate and do what the top dog is doing, right? And again, going back to what we just said a few minutes ago, there's a lot of different ways to do this. You shouldn't just do it just because sort of everyone else around you is doing it. Like, you really got to know yourself. And Veronica, I know you, I could see you smiling when I say that, because I mean, at the end of the day, like I know when I learned about the disc at first, it was really about finding out, who I am as a person first, and understanding how I behave. So that way I can then go out and start to be better myself before I even use that for the many other ways we can use the disc.
Yeah.
And you're right. Yeah. Go ahead, Veronica.
I think that's like the most important, like what you guys are both talking about, is when everybody comes into this industry, I think there's a large failure rate because everybody's trying to be like everybody else, instead of really sitting down and focusing on figuring out what they're good at, what they like to do, and focusing on that, and then adding the other stuff. And I like the whole John Maxwell rubber band effect. If you force yourself to do something, after a while you become comfortable. But if everything you do is outside of your comfort zone, it's human nature to just like step back and be like, I can't do it. Like, I can't, it's just human nature. But if we can focus on those things, like you're saying, that, find the right mentor, find somebody who is going to help you work your business like you need to work it, and figure out what you're good at, then I think people will be way more successful than everybody trying to do the same thing and staying in the same box. And that's what I saw a lot of during the time when I first entered into the industry. And then when I was training everybody, it was like everybody was doing door knocking, everybody was doing cold calling. And it was like, I had people that were like, I feel like I want to throw up. And this is probably not for you, but, so love it. Yeah, I think this is, I think stuff like this, I'm a firm believer of warm calling. Like, I could be honest, like, and that I'll be the first to say, I'm like cold calling girl. And up in Prescott, I mean, it's hard to go door knocking. Like, most of our properties are kind of spread out. So that's not something that I added to my, the things that I did. So we had to get really creative, because even markets are different. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, your guys' market down in the valley is completely different than our market up in Prescott. So it's not just about the right mentor, it's about understanding the market and then understanding the people that you're trying to attract. And the only way you can do that is by knowing who you are.
Yeah, so true. So Travis, I want to go back to your story for a minute, man, because I remember too, just even, having been connected to you for so long, and kind of seeing your journey just even through Facebook and some of the stuff that you were going through, as you started to talk about like your shift in strategy. Tell us about that. Like, how did you decide, hey, I gotta do things differently? And then like, what did you decide to do? And what I want to do after that, by the way, just to set it up, is I want to kind of move forward to where we are today, especially with the two of you guys, having partnered up, on a project. But I want to kind of go back first to like where you were at in that, hey, you're 2 years in, you're grinding hard and you're making 60 grand. And let's just face it, like, it's not really about the money, whether it's 60 grand or 100 grand or 500, it doesn't matter. But most people don't become don't get a real estate license and want to work for themselves and make 30 or 40 or 60 grand. Like
Right.
that's typically not the dream, if you will. So what for you was like the changing point, and what were those steps like for you?
So it's funny you both mentioned that mentor. My mentor is really good at door knocking and cold calls. And I mean, he was really good at it. And I was used to my clients. It sounds funny, from selling trailers and equipment for years. They're actually coming to me and they're ready to do something. My only job was to inform them of why my stuff was better. So it was actually, I didn't think it was easy at the time, but I was used to clients raising their hand. And so that gave me, I said, I got to find something different. I'm never going to do this. I'm going to go get a job. It had worn on me for 2 years, that hard of doing the same type of work and still struggling. I was even at the point, I was kind of a wild man when I was a young man. So I couldn't get friends to use me for 2 years. It was terrible, and so that hurt bad. And so I started researching just random Google stuff that you could, how do I do this? Getting clients in real estate. And, it's endless back then. This is 10 years ago and it was endless back then. And I happened to stumble on a program, and it was not cheap. The book that we used, of course, everybody's probably seen a version of a book you can put your name on, but they're usually not as well written as this one was. Now, the thing about the book is this program had no Facebook ads, nothing. It was really relying on handing it out to expireds and things like that. If you think about a $5 to $10 book, that's expensive with all the expireds in their town. You could go broke. So I was like, I've got to. So then it dawned on me, how did this program get me? It was a Facebook ad. And so back then, no one in Yuma was running them that I know of, not just in real estate, but anything. You just didn't see them. And so I thought, well, that got me. And I had to dive in and learn how to do it. The program did not teach it. And I mean, we're talking, you had to build your own landing pages back then. So that's a separate fee. And, you get the pictures wrong and you're pissed and you've been working on this thing for 3 hours. And now they're simple, now they're so simple. But back then, that's how I kind of did it. And I thought, this is going to be, hopefully this gets somebody to raise their hand. The book would resonate with that person and hopefully this would work. And that's actually what I did. It took me about 3 or 4 months to figure out Facebook ads and whatnot. And I was only spending, when I started, about $300. And that's not very much. But I cannot believe I kept this because I had no plans. But this is my first year. There's 50 leads came off of that 1 year. And I have it from September 10th, 16 to September 14th of 2017. And for some reason, I kept all these. This is my first year. And that's how many ads I got, or many leads I got. And what it was, here is the best part. I sent the book out. I didn't do anything else until 1 week later. And that call, I said, hi, Mr. Kaufman, this is Travis Crow with So-and-so Real Estate. I just wanted to make sure you got my book. And you should have heard every one of them was a warm lead. Yeah, Travis, I did. Thank you so much. Don't even know these people. That was, I'm sitting here going, the first cold call that didn't scream at me, and
let me ask you this.
crazy.
What was the title of the book that you sent out?
I think this one was the Warren Buffett approach to selling real estate. And it's not even around anymore. This program's not around anymore for anyone looking for it. So the guy quit it that had it.
When you started calling these people that you had sent the book to, and they're like, yeah, Travis, I got your book. Thank you. How did that feel, man? Like, did you know right away? You're like, damn, this is a better lane for me to be in.
The first phone call, because it wasn't, why are you calling me or anything like that. They knew why I was calling. I had given them what amounts to a $20 free gift. Most people think a book's $20, no matter what it costs me to print it. That's just what you're going to pay at Hastings, or where I just aged myself.
You also just gave it away that you live in a small town. Hastings,
exactly.
And that's so funny. Yeah. The three of us all know Hastings really well. For those of you who have no clue what Hastings book is, or if you grew up in a town like we did, it's the coolest. It's like the only place to go hang out.
You get everything,
book or movie or whatever.
All of it.
Anyways,
yes. Well, those calls were way easier. And what happened was, when I got my first call, of course, they taught me to ask, when I was in the first meeting, they taught me to ask, are you interviewing other agents? Well, out of those 50, 4 people said, yes, we're interviewing other agents. And I lost all 4 of those. but they were the people that their agent went to church with them or went to this with them or whatever, you know, they're part of this club. And I still got a call into that house somehow. And that amazed me more than but if you think about it, 46 of them used me to sell their house, and I sold every one of them. And I have to say real quick, my income jumped that third year to 238,000. And that was life changing. That's what I knew. It was crazy to me that now about 50 of that was a separate referral thing that we have put in this program. I can't talk too much about it, but it is a way I did it to get referrals from my current clients. And it's all about timing with that. But that alone added 50 grand. Man. So between those two, it was amazing. And I mean, it just was, and no more cold calls. The funny thing is, as I was promoting, hey, another household. Now my friends started going, hey, you know, he's doing that. And I got a few more the next year, you know.
It's like, we can take this guy serious now. He's actually selling real estate.
He's not just a crazy person. Yeah, it was, but this thing, I just still can't believe I saved all these. I randomly found them in a box in my garage, and I went, because I had no plans to do anything like this, you know, this program, until I met Veronica. And Veronica's super smart with all the training. And I said, you know what? I need to write my own. And I actually originally did this for myself to use here. You know, it was just going to be for myself. And the book, it turned out so well that I know, you know, it's designed on purpose to get your client to go, hey, I need that. I want to use that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so tell me about the book. Let's go to today.
Okay.
Tell me about, you guys have partnered up, but like, let's tell the listener on what exactly is it that you're doing? Like, you have this book, you have the strategy, it's no longer around, it's not available anymore, at least the one that you were using. So you said, hey, I gotta basically reinvent this. I gotta do my own version of this. Tell us more about this book. Like, who is it designed for, like from a target audience? And then let's go from there.
Perfect. Yeah. And so it was a couple of weeks of being around Veronica when I joined the same brokerage, that I went, I'm going to tell her about this, because I already had this idea. And I was like, she's the one that can do everything else I have envisioned that I can't do. You know, I'm a writer, I'm a good salesman, but I can't do all the stuff that she can do. So I knew it was something I'm going to run this by her. So what the book is designed for, I'm a pick a side type of guy. Okay. So I wrote this. We don't want to work with everyone. You know that. You've been doing this long enough. You know, you don't want to work with every client. You've probably said no. I fired clients. We've all done it. There's just people that rob you, and you could be doing something else more productive. So I used the business principles of Elon Musk. They're all well known. You can look them up on the internet. But Elon, his strategy and problem solving, and is willing to admit when something's not working, was what clicked in me to go, that's real estate. You have to evolve all the time. Something that worked last month doesn't work today to get a home sold. So you're always evolving with your client or with your home selling techniques. And so I thought, you know what? And the more I read through his principles, which are outlined in the book pretty well, we use quite a bit of them in there. It started to go, wow, this is how you sell a house too. You know, this is a very effective way. But what it also did, it gets me the clients. So not everybody likes Elon Musk, right? But the people that tend to know Elon Musk and like the way he, you know, the certain way he thinks, I guess is the best way to put it. Those are the people I want to align myself with. Those are also the agents I kind of want in my program, because we're going to think alike. We're going to be open to more things, you know, things like that. And that's kind of why I started with Elon. Plus, he's just super smart. And if you read his business principles, there's almost no business that it can't be included in, or use the strategies as your own, including life strategies. So that was the reason I did that. I picked him because they matched real estate exactly to me.
So Veronica, this one's for you. Pick up where we're at today. So Travis approaches you and says, hey, I got this idea. What were you thinking? And then what ultimately led you to get involved?
You know, because when he moved over to the brokerage, we decided to team up together on the real estate stuff to start. And so and I've known Travis a long time, like, you know, the rope in the world, and he and I have always kind of been at that level of like, we found just how our brain works. I'm like, I tell people, if you were inside my head, you would be like mortified. Like the amount of tabs that are open is So when we started working together, full time at that point, we started brainstorming on I started showing him all the different technologies and stuff that I was using. And then all of a sudden he comes to me and he's like, hey, I have this idea. And I'm like, and I'm all for like trying, if it makes sense, right? And so when he came to me and he said, hey, I did this program before, he explained kind of what he explained earlier here on the podcast. And then as we went through it, I was like, awesome. And so I told him, I said, I think it's a great way to generate and get listings. It's not made for everyone. But one of the biggest pieces that was missing, and as he and I started talking about, is that most of these programs just say, hey, here's the product, but don't really show you how to go out and market that product or do, especially right now. I mean, the majority of the world, like 90% of people find their real estate agent online. And it's like, you have to kind of be a jack of all trades. And I always tell people there's so many generations that we have to kind of adjust to, from, baby boomers to millennials and so forth. And so as we were talking, we started to kind of figure out, okay, well, if we did this and we did these landing pages and we actually added these additional trainings and showed agents, hey, here's the product, but if you do A, B, C to Z and you follow these steps, you're going to be even more successful. And then on top of that, one of the biggest things in training, and now that I've been training for a lot of years, is, we could tell someone, hey, you need to go out and create a landing page, right? How many people do you honestly think are going to just go out and create a landing page? Like, not very many. So where our goal is that once he said, hey, let's try this, and we kind of sat and we're like, I thought it was a great idea. Let's see how, if we added those levels of, hey, we're going to record, use these technologies that are super easy to use, but also show you how to do those and have the things that are kind of like a plug and play, that people are more likely to be able to use that and be able to launch it much faster.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think so many of us want, we're all guilty of this to a point, is like we want to buy the thing and then like just have it work magically because we signed up for it. But the reality is, like, some things in life just require, most things in life that are worth having just require like more work. Like, you've got to actually implement the thing, right? You've got to be able to learn how not just buy the program, but like literally do the program, right? And so I love that you guys have kind of included that in the system. So Travis, tell us more about the actual book that you've written, that, and it is or going to be very soon available for other people to effectively buy as well, right?
Yeah, so what we're doing is, when you join our program, you'll get the licensing with your name on it to use the book, and that's what we're going to do. We're also making it exclusive. So think small towns of what we know, Prescott, Payson, Yuma, things like that. That's all your town. I'm going to make it exclusive. You're the only one allowed to use it there. So there's no crossover. There's no competing. If you call me first I don't care if you're in Texas or wherever you're at, this book is going to work anywhere. So it's exclusive for one thing. And then the other part of it is, like Veronica said with her training, we're going to do, I'm naturally a lazy person. I try to find the easiest way to do something and still do it right. So what it really is we're training you on everything, and they're almost just copy paste type stuff. And she's done all that. That's what's so amazing about it. It's the minimal effort. Your hardest part to me, after you learn all this stuff, which is not going to take you very long to implement it, is that warm lead call. That's going to be the hard part. And once you're in the living room, getting it signed. But the program itself, I don't want to get too far off your question, Kevin. Go ahead.
No. Keep going. You're good.
So that was the thing about the exclusivity. I wanted to go back and talk about that real quick, because we are going to keep it exclusive to a territory, and you're going to get that. The book is going to have your name on it. There is a small fee, which I'm actually making it so exclusive. You can't just sign up. You can't just give your credit card and say I'm in. You have to do a phone call with me first. And I'm going to go through everything that's going to cost you, which is very minimal to get started. But there is some book fees to change the name. It's very minor. But after that, you can order 25 books minimum, 100, whatever you want. We have programs where you're going to give it out to certain people, friends, your nail salon lady, your barber, whatever that is, your doctor, and ask them, hey, for some help. If you know somebody thinking about selling their house, just hand this to them. I don't think that's the way I would go personally, but it's there if you want it, because some people know more people and they love doing that, and they have a very good relationship with the Elks Club or whatever it is. That may be the place. but the book will be licensed. And here's the good thing. You mail them out as you want. They're not, I was going to do a direct ship, but it's actually better coming from you, is what I've realized. Because I used to mail them out myself. Takes me a few minutes. Really, the agent could collect leads until Friday and mail them all out on a Friday if they want, and then call the next Friday as your callback. It's pretty easy. We've tried to set it up really easy, but the book itself that you'll be getting with the program will be branded to you. Very professional. We're having it edited by one of the best places. It's not the cheapest, but they are one of the best, and it's going to be formatted correctly. And like I said before, it's designed to get your client to go, I need help from you. That's my person, whoever that is. And we thought it was fair to keep it exclusive, and I'm going to say this part, I was going to keep this out, but we're not actually doing big cities like Phoenix yet, or things like that, big areas, because I want those to be more of a team aspect so somebody can cover that correctly. Does that make sense? Somebody with a 5 to 10 person team, we're considering that at some time. But right now it's going to be really, I want that single agent that needs some help. They're really good. They care about their people, their clients, but they just want to do it a different way. They'd like it, and I haven't found any other way that's better than a lead going, hey, I need some help from you. That call we get and go, oh, sure. That's the best thing you could get to me.
Nothing better than a lead that raises their hand and says, hey,
exactly.
Can you help? Those are the best. So let me ask this. What's if I'm an agent, I'm listening to this, and I go, you know what, this sounds like something I'd like to explore. I want to learn more about this. What's the next step for them?
So what they would do is you go to our site, which we'll have up soon, but we'll go to our site and we will, what you do is you schedule a phone call with me, and it's a live phone call with me. I'm going to run you through some things of what the setup is, which is very easy. Again, it's a few days and you'd be set up. Shipping books will be a couple weeks to get them, but that gives you the training time. We did that on purpose where, the books won't come right away because you'll get a little bit of training time there. But in reality, I even wrote the ad copy for you on the Facebook ad. You don't have to do anything but say, here's our template, run this, here's my link. And then you get an email saying, so-and-so's requested a book with the name, address, telephone number. And if they don't provide that, I didn't mail them before. I got more leads than that, about 10 of them, but I'm pretty sure it was other agents trying to get a copy of my book. And so when they don't leave a real phone number or things like that, it tends to make me go, and I just didn't send them. And you know what's funny? They never followed up on it. So that's the only reason I really like to send them myself, because you're not wasting your own time and money doing that. But yeah, the leads themselves, it's a lot better that way.
Awesome. So do you have the URL now that you can give me and that we can listen? I mean, we're not this.
Oh, you know what? We do actually. I'm sorry. Veronica, you have that, huh? The Market Master is what we're calling it.
Yeah. Marketmasteragents.com is what it'll be once it's live.
Awesome. Marketmasteragents.com.
Yep.
Cool. And we'll put that in the show notes too. That way anybody listening can just refer back to that and click that link.
That was my bad. I forgot we did that.
Yeah. And in regards to what Travis is saying, the whole goal is that with the technology and stuff that we're using is that everything will be automated. So all the landing pages will require people to enter the information, because we're in the world. And I tell folks, like, just putting information out there and hoping somebody calls you is one thing, but giving them something of value and them requesting it and being able to capture that information is what we should be doing. Like, we're in the business of lead capture, like not just like give everything away, and so that was kind of our goal with this, is that once it's all set up, is making sure that everything for them is plug and play, so that as soon as someone requests it, they get notified and they have to provide specific information to be able to receive that book.
That's awesome. That's great.
And on that note too, once you send a book to somebody, Veronica and I have set it up where we're going to actually enable you to do an email follow-up with them. They're already written for you strategically again. So all you have to do is take our number 1 through 12, there's a year, and just set them up on, I hate the word drip, but it really is that. And but it's not how to winterize your pipes and goofy, crap like that. It's actual useful content that pertains to our book.
I was going to say it's probably specific to the book that way.
Yeah, and it keeps it here all the time. Top of mind's all we're trying to do. We're not overdoing it with them. We're not, hey, do you want a CMA? Sure, that's going to be offered in there. But really what it is we're going to provide that. You don't even have to write it. Like, I used to have to write a newsletter and send it out. And then, and you're spending days getting close and you trying to figure out what to say. we've got all that figured out for them. So we're going to do the follow-up too, because what happened to me is I wasn't doing that. I got a call about 8 months later and I didn't know who the guy was. And he said, well, I got your book sitting here. And I went, oh, okay. And I was like, oh no. So that's when I knew we needed some better follow-up, and that we're doing that for you as well. You're welcome to write it. You know, if somebody's a writer like yourself, I know you like to do that. No problem. Write your own, but we have them set up so you don't have to. This is literally, I try to make it as plug and play as possible, where I like to enjoy myself. I mean, this job affords you time. We were talking about it before we got on here. It affords you time to do stuff, hang out with your family. I mean, that was a big thing with me. You don't want to make a lot of money and have no time. That this is not good for me. It's just not who I am. I like to do, I've got horses and hunting, everything. So that's the cool thing about what she's done with it, is she's made everything as easy. You wouldn't believe how easy these are to go, oh, I can do that. Okay. You click it and you go. So that's the one thing I'm super proud of, is we're also doing the follow-up with it.
Awesome.
And I think the key, if I can throw in there too, is that our goal was with the program as well, is to have like a full business in a box, because agents have tools and technology, but and that's also a part of it, is like, if you're selling the book, you also want to make sure that you can back it up. And that was the other part. It's like, no, you can't just like sell something and then be like, oh, but I don't know how to do that. So it's like, if you're going to offer and talk about specific technologies and or different principles of business that you follow, then you need to have a strategy for each of those. So the goal is not only, okay, here's how we're going to capture them. We're going to send them the book, but then we're going to try to and we're going to say we are going to set them up. It's up to the agent to see how successful they're going to be. But the way we set it up is that we're setting them up to win. So if they follow the principles, and they actually follow the principles of the book and then back it up by the strategies that we're providing them, when they actually go to the listing appointment, they should win if they follow all of the training and principles, or have something to implement of their own to back up those principles.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a really complete kind of just from lead generation to follow up and conversion plan, that I know for some people out there listening, they're like, okay, this is the thing. This is something I can do. Give us the URL again one more time. It's
what is it? My brain's just gone all of a sudden.
It's marketmasteragents.com.
Marketmasteragents.com. And again, we'll put that in. I'll make sure that's in the show notes, and that'll be live by the time this episode airs. And we'll be ready to go. So any last like closing thoughts, anything either one of you, and just feel free to, if you want to go first, Travis or Veronica, and then the other one that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet that you want to make sure we get in before we close out.
Go ahead, Veronica.
I think the only other thing I'd like to add is that, the goal of the program too is not just about selling the book. I'm a firm believer of value, and it's about giving back and contributing. And my thing was is that I wanted to make sure that whoever joins the program has a full-on business model. Meaning, at the very beginning, we'll discuss business planning and different things. I have a whole business model that they can follow business plan-wise, and also keeping up with where the market is today, which is like using AI and some of the other things that would make them successful and where the market is headed. And especially like knowing themselves, right? Know yourself to grow yourself. So I'm going to throw in some bonuses. So I'm just going to throw that out there. They will get a few bonuses. Some will be some AI training with some AI. We're doing a whole list of prompts. I have a whole list of prompts that we're going to provide to agents to kind of streamline their process if they want to add technology. And then I'm also throwing in some DISC training. So they will have the DISC training that I will be doing, that they'll be offered, is behavioral selling. So it'll really help them really hone in and really hopefully make that program even more successful for them.
Awesome. Travis, your turn, buddy.
Yeah. So along those lines, like it was good we could have just done a book and had it, like you said, sell it. But for this program, that's actually the minor part. That's the easy part. The client will raise their hand on that. I already know that will work. But it's what she put together with Veronica put together with everything else. You will be a complete agent. If you don't make a lot of money and have a lot of time, I would be super shocked. It just means you probably don't have an internet connection, because otherwise this is almost a can't fail if you do what she's put together. And again, we try to make it as super easy as possible. The least, once you learn this, it's not like you're going to be in there training every day unless you just like to go look at the stuff. Because once you have the concept of this, and then you're using this book effectively, it's simple, really. It's not easy, but it's simple. You still have to do it. Like you said, there's no magic magic deal, but this is about as close as I've come. And the feeling here when you're closing that many deals, but you're not robbing your soul of doing something that you can't do, that is so against what you normally feel. And that was the other stuff for me. And that's the person we want. Is you're a good agent. Maybe you're already good, or you want to be really good. And you also want something that gets people to warmly raise their hands and say, hey, I want to talk to you. That's who this is for. It's not for everyone, and we know that, but it will be for those people that, want to take it a jump and honestly have more time. I love that part. It's for me personally, I have more time doing it this way. So it's fun, and it's fun.
Nice.
It's super fun to close them.
Love it. Well, guys, you heard it here. Go check out the website again. It's linked in the show notes. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, click, go there, schedule a call with Travis, learn a little bit more, and maybe it'll be a good fit for you guys, and you can take it from there. So Travis and Veronica, thank you both for being a guest on the show today, and looking forward to hearing back on the results and how the launch of this goes, and with the training program, and helping a bunch of agents sell more real estate.
Appreciate
Kevin,
you. Grateful for the opportunity to be on the show today.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and you're a good dude. Thanks
bro.
for having me, man. Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it for today, and we'll see you again next week.